Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. We are going to continue the Jedi Circle series. We're talking on the aspect of equity. Equity in the Jedi Circle is listed to treat all fairly. Not equally, fairly. There's a difference between equal and equitable, and we're going to get into that and kind of how it applies to the Jedi. It's not really difficult. This shouldn't take long. There's also another video on equity that we've already done, which kind of explains things. We're not talking about two things equal the same thing, right? We touched on this subject with the Jedi spoons video, where two plastic spoons and two metal spoons, while those are equal, they're not equitable, right? So let's just break this down. This is really easy, okay? This is about treating people with fairness. Now, if we're going to talk about equal, in the Jedi community, you could have a physical standard. Everybody needs to run a mile in 5 minutes. If you can't run a mile in 5 minutes, you can't be a Jedi. That's equal. We're going to hold it to everybody across the board. That's equal. It's not equitable and it's not fair. Holding people to a single standard across the board, an equal standard that applies to everybody, is just misinformed and doesn't take the great diversity and the strength of diversity into account, whether you're talking fictional Jedi or real Jedi. There are plenty of great Jedi who can't run a mile for plethora of reasons. So it's equal, it's not equitable, it's not right, it's not fair, and it's completely irrelevant to the Jedi path and the philosophy and how we live our lifestyle, right? So how do we make something equitable? How does this apply to our life? Well, you probably already do it. You probably already understand it, and you just never applied this word to it. Let's say you break your arm, okay? You break your forearm. You break your forearm, and you go to the doctor. And he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to put that in the cast. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. Set it, put it in the cast. And he's like, yeah. So that's gonna be 4 casts. And you're like, what? Why do I need 4? Well, both arms and both legs. We're gonna treat all your limbs equally. We're gonna treat them the same. We're gonna treat them equally. So we're gonna have to put casts on all of your limbs to make sure all of your limbs are treated equally. You're like, that's unhelpful. That doesn't help at all. You're treating something that doesn't need treatment. Okay, so equitable would be, okay, we've checked you out. Your forearm is broken. We're gonna put a cast on your forearm, and everything else is good to go. So that's fine. We're not gonna treat it. We're not gonna put a cast on it because there's no need to. There's no need to focus in on something that's already good, as something that's already taken care of. So that's the difference between equitable and equal. You don't always want equal treatment, right? Because you want equitable treatment. Sometimes more resources and more attention and more patience and all that. Sometimes that needs to go to a certain spot, a certain location, more than something else. And you're like, okay, you're good. I don't need to worry about you. You're fine. You don't need treatment. You don't need my attention. Go handle business. But this thing does, or this person does, and this situation does, and I'm gonna have to devote some more resources to it, right? So living your life as a Jedi is about equity. It's not about equal, it's about equity. It's not about giving equal effort to everything in your life, right? Like work, play, family, all of that. You don't give equal because you're gonna give equitable, right? Sometimes this needs more attention, sometimes this needs more attention. And you're gonna have to go with the flow, and that's gonna change on a constant basis in your life. Some things are gonna require more attention, and you just have to communicate that. Again, communication, big in Jedi philosophy, big in the Jedi way, but it's gonna change, it's gonna flow, and your attention's gonna have to move with it. And you need that equitable attention to your life, not equal attention. You can't divide your time up like that. It rarely works out, right? So that's what you have to do. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope that explains this one. Stay tuned for more videos on the Jedi Circle series. Of course, if you have ideas, recommendations, or your own experiences, feel free to leave them in the comments below. You know where the buttons are. May the Force be with you.